Let me start with the single most powerful financial thing you can own. It is not a stock, it is not gold, it is not a clever app. It is a boring pile of cash sitting in a boring bank account doing absolutely nothing. It is called an emergency fund. And it is the one thing that stands between a bad week and a ruined year. Here is the whole idea in one sentence. An emergency fund is money you set aside for the shocks you cannot predict so that when one arrives, you reach for the fund instead of a loan. That is it. A cushion, kept on purpose, so life's inevitable surprises meet savings and not a credit card. So why does almost nobody have one? Because it is the least exciting product in all of finance. Nobody earns a commission selling it to you. There is no app with a glowing chart. It just sits there, unglamorous and quiet, which is exactly why it is the first thing every honest advisor tells you to build and the last thing anyone tries to sell you. Now, the question everyone asks, how much? The classic answer is 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses. Not your income, your expenses. The rent, the food, the EMIs, the bills that do not stop just because your income did. Add those up, multiply by 3, and that is your first target. Multiply by 6, and that is your fortress. But here is the part people get wrong, and it matters. This money has two jobs, and only two. It must be safe, and it must be reachable. Safe means you are not investing it. Reachable means you can have it in your hands within a day. An emergency fund locked in a 5-year deposit or riding the stock market is not an emergency fund. It is just savings wearing the wrong costume at the wrong moment. So where does it actually go? Somewhere deliberately dull. A separate savings account so you do not see it every day and spend it. Or a liquid fund you can withdraw from quickly. The exact product matters far less than the two rules. Separate from your daily money so you are not tempted. And reachable in a day so it is there when the ceiling leaks. Now the real objection, the honest one. You are thinking, this is fine advice for people with spare money, but I have nothing left at the end of the month. And that is real, and I'm not going to pretend it away. But the answer is not the full 6 months. The answer is to change the target. Because the goal was never 6 months on day 1. That number is a fortress, and you do not build a fortress in a week. The first real target is smaller and almost everyone can reach it, not 6 months. One shock. Enough to cover a single hospital visit, or one broken phone, or one lost week of work. For most people, that is a few thousand rupees, not a few lakhs. And that first small wall stops the most common disaster of all, the tiny emergency that becomes a big loan. And the way you build it is the least dramatic method imaginable. You automate it. On the day your income arrives, a small fixed amount moves itself into the fund, before you can feel it, before you can spend it. Pay the fund first, like a bill you owe to your future. Whatever is left is what you actually had to spend. Willpower fails. A standing instruction does not. So let me put the whole thing on one page, because it really is this short. Work out 1 month of essential expenses. Open a separate account they never see. Automate a small transfer on payday. Build to one shop first, then slowly to 3 months, then 6. And touch it only for a true emergency, which does not include a sale. And one last honest warning. A festival is not an emergency. A phone upgrade is not an emergency. The wedding you have known about for a year is not an emergency. The fund only works if you are ruthless about what counts, because every time you raid it for a want, you quietly tell yourself the fund is optional. It is not. It is the difference between a shock and a spiral. So here is the reframe I will leave you with. An emergency fund does not make you money. It does something rarer. It buys you calm and it buys you choices. It is the reason you can say no to a bad loan, walk away from a bad job, and face a bad month without fear. It is not an investment in wealth. It is an investment in your own steadiness. They say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. The emergency fund is exactly that kind of tree. Unexciting to plant, invisible for a while, and then, on the single worst day you did not see coming, the only thing standing between you and the storm,